Pega lead business architect working for one of the MNCs in India. And I do have overall 10 years of experience, which comprises of both the business architecture and then also within the Pega technology, in which specifically I have 7 years of BA experience where I have a variant technology experiences in a journey. So I have worked as a Pega developer before, and then after 2 years, I have and migrated to Pega Business Architect, and I worked in Scotland, and there I have started my journey as a Pega Business Architect, and from there I came back to India and I worked for a couple of MNCs, in which I've been explicitly working on the Pega projects, which are very huge projects for the telecom and also for fast moving consumer goods projects. And uh, I'm partly responsible for bringing the business up, and also I worked in a lot of um, the company sales, pre-sales department as well. And I've been working in the telecom department, the fast-moving consumer goods department, and also logistics and procurement uh, line. So this is brief about me. So today we are going to discuss about the Pega Systems Business Architecture course, in which this course comprises of a lot of Pega artifacts coming into the picture for leveraging the business solutions using Pega Systems technology. And today we are going to discuss about a brief about what the Pega system is all about and how it is leveraging the technology for conducting a successful business. And we are going to discuss about what's the exact role of a business architect in one of the Pega projects for a long term, and what are the roles and responsibilities he is going to perform on that constraints. Okay, so let's move on. So this is about the Pega overview. Let's start off with the Pega overview, in which Pega have three features, we can say that, which are predominantly making or penetrating the Pega solutions into the market. So the first one is in build phase. In this build variant, you can see that there is no need to do a hardcore uh, development in the application in order to come up with an application's very low code um, performance. When low, when you can say that there is not much coding is required for this application. So if you find a lot of applications which requires a lot of hard coding and customizing the application, in which Pega stands in the first place for providing the out-of-the-box features. Pega provides a lot of out-of-the-box features. A few of them are like, if you are coming up with a solution, a requirement to provide an interface for a telecom department, we do have a lot of frameworks which Pega already provides the code and the features, the skins, the UI, and everything, which we have to reuse them into our current application. And if you want to customize them in a UI perspective, we can do that. So we can say that there's not much coding required for developing that application. And you can see open architecture is one of the features provided by the Pega application. As I said, we have a set of predefined architecture provided by the package, and you can see we can have we can purchase based on our requirement. Say for example, if I'm dealing with the credit cards, we have a smart dispute framework where it comes with the predefined rules in the sense the code within the Pega itself. And you can see there are a lot of customer ready customer experience features provided, where it try to enable the UI expert or the developer who is working on it to give enriched look for a UI, and that can take a lot of efforts in order to build it from the scratch, whereas Pega gives you the set of out of the box UI features using CSS, and we can customize it based on the customer's choice. And you can see there is a lot of continuous delivery applied on the Pega projects, it's not stopping you to go ahead with one of the pending works if you are stuck with something, because we can conduct the business or we can conduct the development parallelly without affecting any other code. So Pega is built for change, and you can make your changes on the fly. You can make your changes over a laptop. You can do it over the iPad or any of the tablets, and also you can you can do the coding over the mobile phones as well. So it extends its functionality, its availability of the coding capabilities over different devices, and that's how it does the continuous delivery. Coming to the next variant, automate. Case management plays a major role in Pega development. Case management gives you a control over how the business can be conducted, and this will be handled by many people in the project. It can be done by a developer, it can be done by the business architect, or it can be done by the product owner himself, and he can have a look at the case management, see various stages, how the uh, flow progresses in different steps and all different stages. And you can also customize, you can put a lot of rules in that particular flow, and you can see how the flow progresses, and you can make the modifications based on the customer's interest. Robotic automation is another feature provided by the recent versions of Pega systems, where you can automate the flows and processes based on the time variance. And I can see we have a lot of features provided by Pega for robotic automation, in which there is a very minimal interaction between the application and the human. If once the robotic automation comes into the picture, and you can actually automate the processes, and you can monitor the performance, you can monitor the spikes in the load or anything, or any other features which we do it manually in the previous versions, and that can be handled well with the robotic automation. So this particular features completely makes the Pega stand out of the out of or above of all the applications. And the workforce intelligence comes into the picture when you are entitled to assign some work to some person, and you can actually effectively handle that workforce when workforce allocation of the work, and handling the work using workforce intelligence. And engagement is another feature where you can engage the Pega application by in between the IT team, business team, and the stakeholders through mobile. And intelligent virtual assistants is the other one, where you can actually uh, uh, um, enable the virtual assistants using the mobile devices or maybe the other devices. And this completely gives you a control over how you conduct your business and how you develop the application. Decision management is one of the parts, and we can say the heart of the Pega systems, where we have a different metrics and different methodologies for applying the decisioning engine into the application. So we have a predictive analysis, adaptive analysis, and we do have a virtual business directory where it gives you the 360 view of the application and the performance of a few of the features or the products which you're going to cross sell to the customer. And this decision management plays a key role in giving you the pictorial view of how that particular product is doing it in the market. And and it also gives you the metrics that at what particular time that particular product is going to cross sell or upsell in the market. And looking at that metrics, uh, Pega will be deciding that what is the best product can be offered to the customer. So this is all about the decisioning management, and it has a different frameworks, marketing projects. Most of the marketing projects will be using this decision management concepts. Okay, so this is the Pega applications development approach. As we have discussed, it has a low code or no code functionality, and it talks more about the model driven application approach, application development approach. So model driven is something that you model the application in such a way that it doesn't affect your productivity, and it will not affect, or it will not drag someone's efforts back. It will give you a constructive way of conducting the business, and also the development journey as well. And we have a different visual tools like Agile Studio or Agile Workbench, which gives you the complete control over the project. And also, as we most of the companies will be using a third party visual tools like Visio, UML, and other things. Whereas we in Pega itself, we have a designer studio in which we can actually see or design the flow, and we can provide the artifacts for those flows. And the most important thing is there is no disconnect between the business people and the IT. It connects both business users, and also it gives you the complete picture of what's happening in the business, whereas the business people can understand what actually is getting developed. So it actually fills the gap between the business people and the IT. So this is all about the high level picture about the Pega. And Pega comes in 4 variants, the studios. So the first one is App Studio. In App Studio, it's more of the business architects are going to use it. You can see the business analyst, the developers, the UI UX developers, and the data engineers will be working on the App Studio. In the App Studio, we have a lot of uh, features provided, especially for the developers. We have a designer studio. We have all the project artifacts will be captured in that App Studio. And whereas in the Dev Studio, it becomes a bit technical, where the experienced application developers, the administrators, will be working on that Dev Studio. You can also see they have an admin studio, which is especially provided it for the system administrators. So if you see, the system administrators will be handling over all the hardware related issues, and also the PDC, which is Pega Diagnostic Cloud, which is a part of an admin studio as well, which gives you an overall picture about how the application is performing, and if there are any blockages or any showstoppers for the application to run smoothly. This will be helping them to fix it. So system administrators has got their own portal. And for predictive studio is something which is dealing with the decisioning artifacts, like the data scientists and decision architects are working together in this predictive studio, which they gives you the pictorial view and the graphical view of how the system is performing. So let's look into the member of the project team. So in a Pega application, we have a project team, and in the project team, we have a different participants or the stakeholders who conducts the business. So the successful project requires with a complementary skills and a different variant skills, and it's a mix of different roles. You can see there is a practice leader. Practice leader is someone who is top of everyone, where he decides that how the application should be built, and he will be the person who will be responsible for conducting the business and also coming up with an application output. Specialty architects are few people which will be working only on few of the specialized application, for example DevOps, or there are some of the things which we normally do it on Jenkins or any other third-party tools, where they can monitor or they can do the migration of the code and everything. So we have a specialty architects which are can be a part of the project team. We have engagement leader and the project manager who looks over the complete team, and also the engagement in the sense that the project which we are dealing with, they are a lot of artifacts need to be addressed, and he's the person who is responsible for managing all of them. We have system administrators and IT resources. They look into how the application is behaving, and also if any special needs are required for running that application smoothly, like in hardware upgrade or software upgrade. System administrators also are going to do it. Moreover, they will be working with the developers to create the operators in the application so that they can use the application. System architects are the ones who are going to work on the application, they work on the development build of the application, and business architects who are going to leverage uh, the business IT solutions to the development team in and around. And so they probably they most of the time they do bridge the gap between the business people and the IT people. And if any concerns or any clarifications required, they will be the they will act as a bridge between the business and IT departments. Subject matter experts are the ones who are expert in that particular topic, which or topic we can say that that particular stream of business. And quality assurance are people who are responsible for testing the application and make sure that the code is defect free. So these are a few major members of the project team, and depending upon the requirement, we might add a few other architects in a specialty architects section. So let's look into the role of the Pega Business Architect. So Pega Business Architects normally they do engage in the in and out of the project. So they will be working along with the stakeholders, and parallelly they will be working with the project team as well, so that they can capture the requirements from the stakeholders or the project leaders, and they translate the business requirements into technical specifications, and they are responsible for delivering the minimum lovable product. And also they try to gather all the information, they scope all the requirements, they try to come up with the backlog, and from that backlog items they will be refining those user stories, putting them in the sprint, and they will be delivering that in a sprint wise in an agile project. And they help to scope and customize the application releases as well. So the basic or the major part where the Pega business architect playing a vital role is in the journey centric delivery. So what does it mean by the journey centric delivery, which this word has been coined by Pega Systems. So in this journey centric delivery, at the start of the project, the project team members and the customers will be identifying the user stories. When identifying the coming up with the user stories, and we put them in the backlog, and we start prioritizing them. So after prioritizing, the team members will prepare for the project kickoff meeting, and during which the team reviews the scope for the first release and defines the roadmap for the future release. So after the project starts, team works on refining and preparing the user stories to establish definition of done. And the primary the primary goal of the journey centric delivery uh, is to focus mainly on the minimum lovable product on the first release. So if you can see, there is a preparation phase, and we can see there is a build phase and a go live phase. And in the within the build phase, we have a different sprints. And in the prepare phase, right, we identify the type of cases and the backlog using the DCO sessions. Okay, so we in this prepare phase, we define the MLP, which is minimum lovable product, and we define it, we lock that MLP, and then we start providing the estimates. And after we provide the estimates, we will be training the team in order to achieve that MLP. And this all everything happens in the prepare phase. And the predominant work of the BA in this phase is to capture the requirements, prioritize them, conduct the DCO session, which is a direct capture of objectives into the application, and refining the user stories based on the customer's inputs, and make sure that it meets the MLP's timelines and guidelines. And coming to the next phase, once the MLP has been fixed, we move into the build phase, where the project teams and the sponsors will review the application and the goals and the approach how we are going to develop that application. We'll be defining that, and then we start refining the backlog items. So we call them as a grooming session. So in this grooming session, from the backlog, we pick up the few of the user stories which are prioritized, and we start refining them, and we set up the project to perform a certain activities, and this everything happens within the build phase. If you can see, we are going to refine it, we're going to configure it, and we're going to test it after the evaluation. So this all happens in a round phase, and we have a different sprints here. So we have different sprints, and the same activities will be conducted within each of the sprint. And once we are end of a sprint end, we plan for go live. And in that go live, the code which is being built, tested by the development team, will be moved to the quality testing. And once the quality testing is done, it moves to the go live phase, where the customer will perform the testing, and based on the results, right, the review, there will be a review panel uh, to decide whether the application is good to go or not. And sometimes there might be some challenges for the developers, that they might have understood the requirement incorrectly, and it doesn't fit the purpose of the customer. So it will be sent back to the build phase again. They do a lot of enhancements for the application and the bugs which they arise in the due course, and they go for go live again. So in these phases, BA plays a major role along with the project manager, and he will be helping both the development team and the business team. And if there are any sort of miscommunications in between the complete phases and throughout the journey, he'll the person who is going to jump in, and he is going to resolve the issues. Okay, and as I said, Pega Business Architect is responsible for participating in backlog item prioritization. So we have different types of prioritization techniques, uh, Kano model, and there is some in a Kano model and Moscow model are different. The two most of the companies will be using for the prioritizing the backlog items. So Moscow model stands for must have, should have, could have, or won't have. So based on 4 categories, they will be deciding which user story should be available for that application, and which user story or which requirement is good to have, and which user story is not required at this moment. So we prioritize that user stories, and also we refine the product backlog. We take out a few user stories which are not required, and we start adding a few other things, so that before freezing the requirements, we make sure that every user story and every requirement has been addressed. And once the requirements are done, then we start running the DCOs with the customers, and we capture the feedback from the customers. And for that, we use a different set of tools which we are going to discuss in the few further slides. In capturing and refining the user stories, we are using Agile Workbench or Agile Studio, which is provided by Pega itself. And these Workbench and Agile Studio are the two collaborative tools. And Agile Workbench comes along with the application, whereas in Agile Studio, we have to purchase it separately. And it's a replica of Jira. We can capture the bugs, we can capture the feedback items provided by the customer on the show and tell. And this is all we do on a daily basis on each of the DCO session by a BA. And we can also integrate the Agile Workbench with the third-party tools like Jira and CA Agile Central. So there might be some customers who might be very adamant to use a few of the third-party tools like Jira and CA Central Agile. So we can actually collaborate, we can actually integrate Agile Workbench, which is the part of a Pega, and transfer all the requirements, all the user stories into Pega application. And these are the ways which we can capture and refine the user stories. But most of the traditional companies will be using Excel sheets to track the efforts and capture the user stories and come up with catalogs, business catalogs, technical catalogs, and everything. But it is as per Pega's guardrails and recommendation, it is recommended that to use the Agile Workbench or Agile Studio to track your project progress. So Pega Agile Studio is one which presents the Pega methodology of the Scrum framework for application development teams, product owners, and stakeholders to collaborate on features. and it helps to plan the release and execute the development tasks and context of an agile or some scrum projects. So this tool will actually helps to track the project progress and see that who is assigned with what work and what is the work is getting done by that particular person, and if there are any blockages, who needs to be engaged in order to resolve that blockage. And this gives you an overall control on the project, where we create the project within the project we create the teams, and we start assigning the users into that team so that they can start accepting the work. And once the product backlog has been created, we'll be assigning them we will be assigning the user stories in the product backlog into a different sprints. And a user can be a part of a lot of sprints where we assign it to them, and they can provide the different efforts for each of the tasks which we create within the user story. We can have a pictorial view of how Agile Studio works, but in this demo, we are not discussing in depth of it, but we are just discussing about what Pega Agile Studio can provide and what it is capable of. So different tasks will be provided and performed by a BA on Agile Studio, where he has a total control on Pega Agile Studio. He can create the projects and team. He can create the backlogs and sprints. He can create, update, and review the user stories. He can capture the defects or bugs, and also the capture the feedback from the customer after show and tell or the application demo. And apart from these, we have a lot of one-on-one meeting with the client, where we need to provide some demonstration to the end product out to the client. And these are known as a show and tell or demonstration calls, where we walk the application through the customer, and in the due course they might suggest us to make some changes, or they might ask us to make some modifications or enhancements for an existing functionality, where BA is the one who will be a scribe for those calls, and he will be noting down all the points, and he will communicate the same to the technical team, and he'll make sure by collaborating with them, saying that we have to come up with uh, these particular application features on a stipulated time, and he's the person who is going to make sure that that particular work is done. We can actually um, configure all these business rules, and also we can do a lot of service level agreements. We can provide the service level agreement. We can start delegating the rules to a particular team, and also we can have the reporting features which will be single-handedly maintained by the BA. And in Pega Agile Studio, we have a facility of populating the um, business rules, I mean the business reports, in which where we can create a pictorial view of the progress or the status of some defects or the user stories. We can pull that reports out of Pega Agile Studio. So this gives you as a complete package of all the project management tools which is provided by Pega itself. So this is all about the in and out of the Pega BA who is going to perform on a high level. But if we get into the details of each of the artifacts, like in the case management, how the case managements are built, and what is the role which Pega BA is going to play in that case management, it all defines in our detailed sessions further. So if you have any other further questions, please do let me know. Hello.